Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles Sebastian, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we'll give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a hell of a show in store for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So today we got another funny show coming to you guys here. Today we got we're going to be talking about one of my favorite shows, The Odd Couple, with Chris Broussard and Rob Parker. Now, as you guys know, over the last 2 years, we've seen the advent of former player, current NBA players starting their own podcasts. And we've had some very successful ones. You could think of Gil's Arena. You could think of the Big Podcast. You could think of the Old Man in the Three with JJ Redick. And so many others, right? And so many others. And some of them are really, really good. And others aren't really that good. And I think the reason why some people feel like, maybe including myself, don't feel like others are that good is because basically what you have on there is people just essentially agreeing with each other all the time. You rarely get any pushback in a real way when a player goes out and says one thing or the other. And one of those people that has been very, very critical of NBA players doing podcasts is Rob Parker, right? Rob Parker has not been a fan of these guys doing podcasts. He thinks that some of them don't take it seriously. He feels like some of them are not really going out there to really give the audience any insightful information. Rather, instead, they're just going out there to just kind of stroke each other's egos and just agree with each other and just basically sit down and shoot the breeze without any real serious intentions for the audience. So just, yesterday, apparently what had happened was Kevin Durant did a sit down, and I want to give you guys the backdrop. He did a sit down on a particular podcast, and essentially he was asked to give the big dogs, the current big dogs in the NBA, and I think he said LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and he threw in himself. When what happened was when Rob Parker heard what he had to say, he was so ticked off at Kevin Durant for not including Nikola Jokic and other foreign players into the conversation, knowing that they have won 5 of the last 5 MVPs. And he's like, this is another reason why we shouldn't take these guys seriously talking sports. So those are the comments that we want to focus on today. But before we even get into what Rob Parker had to say to Chris Broussard, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Game Time. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. For example, I am super excited about the upcoming MLB games. With Game Time tickets, I can easily pick the best tickets for me. I love that I can choose between different deals. I have the option to select the cheaper deal, the best option deal, or my favorite, the flash deal. The flash deal gives me the option to find discounts that I can only find on Game Time. Once I select the ticket I want, I can view my seat. And it's not just restricted to baseball. I can also look for the best ticket deals for other sports like football, the NBA, concerts, comedy, or other theater shows. Included in my purchase, I also have a 24-hour return guarantee, a lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do now is want to play exactly what Rob Parker had to say in response to Kevin Durant's comments, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Rob Parker here.
But Rob, Kevin Durant was talking. He was on the Logan Paul's podcast called Impulsive. And he was asked, who was the big 3 in the NBA? Now, I wonder if Logan Paul asked the question. I don't know who did ask it, but if it was Logan Paul, did he really, it was his co-host, did they know what they were talking about? They say who's the big 3 in the NBA, Rob G? Because usually
play
a
the
team
sound here
will have a big 3.
Yeah, in the sound.
Not a league.
I believe you'll hear the question in the sound here. However, full context in the conversation, it's Logan Paul, his co-host, and a social media influencer by the name of Speed or something like that. And they're talking to the influencer, and he says, yeah, I'm part of kind of like the big 3 when it comes to streaming. It's me and these 2 other guys.
Okay.
And then that's when the co says, hey, well, KD, who's the big three of the NBA right now. Here was his answer. Take a listen.
Okay, that's cool.
Who's the big three in the NBA right now in your eyes? Don't just say just Big Me. Is that what you're going to say?
No, hell no. I mean, if you would look at it, you could say LeBron, Steph, myself. I mean, the NBA is different, bro. Ain't no big threes.
Right.
It's like a big 30.
So that straightens it out. I mean, that's logical, right? You're talking about a big three of this or that, and he says, "Who's the big three of the NBA?" Okay, that's cool. Kevin Durant. I agree that LeBron, Steph, and then to a lesser degree, but still, Kevin Durant are the three giants of this generation. LeBron's just playing so long that he's now in the Steph generation as well. But they would be the three giants of this generation. So from that perspective, I give it to Kevin Durant. But if there was a big three, if you had to name, I mean, just the three best players, I think there is a clear big three in the NBA. And right now it would be Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think that would be the big three if there was such a thing, Rob.
100%. And this is a total disregard of international players and acting like they haven't done anything and they don't rate or whatever. It doesn't make any sense. The Joker's won 3 of the last 4 MVPs, Chris. Hello?
Well, yeah, you're right. And the three guys we named, and Luka hadn't even won one, but they've won 5 of the last 6.
Right. I mean, like you
Durant hasn't won an MVP since 2014.
I mean, like what? Really? And where is, again, listening to these lame podcasts where can somebody just push back on Kevin Durant and say the Joker's won 3 of the last 4? He doesn't rate? He's not in your top 3 of the big 3? Can we get a little bit of that? Can you work for 5 seconds on a podcast? Can you work for the listener and make you feel like you're listening and you're not just head nodding every time somebody opens their pie hole and just spouts anything out? It's ridiculous. They don't even flinch. We just talked about forget about
Logan Paul
Giannis.
is a boxer.
I get
kinda,
it, but he's
sorta,
got a podcast.
Kinda, sorta. Like, I don't even know if he's a boxer.
But he's asking questions as if they're reporters and they're trying to get information and knowledge. That's my point. If you're going to ask questions, can you please have a follow-up? Can you please make him explain why he believes what he believes? Can you please just throw him a little bit and say, why are you disregarding and disrespecting the international players who have won the last 6 MVPs? Kevin Durant, why?
So you heard what Rob had to say. What are my thoughts? I think that Rob brings up an interesting point. If we think of some of the players that have won MVP over the last few seasons, they've all been foreign players. I'm not counting Joel Embiid because Joel Embiid just recently became an American, but that was just recently, but he's a foreign guy. You think of Giannis Antetokounmpo 1-2, Nikola Jokic is 1-2, 2 if my memory serves me right, and then of course you have Joel Embiid, so that's just 5 right there, right? 5 right there. So whenever you say, when we're talking about the big dogs in the NBA and you leave out these guys, people kind of look at you in a funny way. You just had Luka Doncic in the finals. He's a foreign guy. He was doing his thing in the playoffs this year. But I think the aspect Kevin Durant was talking about, at least this is just what I think maybe he was speaking about it from a marketing standpoint. And if we're speaking about it from a marketing standpoint, I think Kevin Durant has a point. Because marketing, the NBA still promotes Stephen Curry, they still promote LeBron James, and they still promote Kevin Durant. As a matter of fact, all of last season, we heard people talk about, well, who's going to be the new star of the NBA when Kevin Durant, LeBron, and all of these guys go and leave, when they ultimately retire, who are going to be the guys that the NBA is going to be pushing forward? And that's where you started seeing them make a concerted effort to push Anthony Edwards and some other stars, right? This was a real conversation because they were like, these guys are getting older and they're going to be retiring fairly soon. So it is a real thing from that standpoint. And if that's the standpoint that Kevin Durant was speaking about it from, then I think Kevin Durant is 100% on the money. these are the guys that are marketed the most, right? It's LeBron, it's Stephen Curry, and then it's Kevin Durant himself. And I think after that, the next player up to bat is going to be Anthony Edwards. But I also do think you're going to have some foreign guys in there. I think Victor Wembanyama is also going to be marketed as well. And of course, you have some guys that are still going, like Luka Doncic and others that are also going to be marketed. And of course, you have Jason Tatum to a certain extent. But overall, I get what Kevin Durant was saying. And on the other hand, I also get what Rob Parker was saying, because what Rob was saying, and you heard him say it himself, he's like, why wasn't there someone in the room that said, but what about these guys? And what about that guy? And I think that if somebody had said that, what would have happened is Kevin Durant would have just simply explained his position. And I think it would have been probably similar to some of the points I put forward, because if we're being honest, those are the guys that are being marketed. And if we're looking into the future, it's going to be Anthony Edwards. We'll see how John Morant returns. He was supposed to be one of them as well. And I think Victor Wembanyama is also going to be promoted. But this is just my interpretation of everything that you guys heard. So what I want to know from you guys, where do you stand on this issue? Are you with Rob? Are you with what Katie had to say? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts in the comments, and we catch you on the next show. Peace.